Tonight we are looking at what is ahead for the Newtown area of Sarasota. But first, let's take a look at the past. Sarasota's African-American community began in Overtown, an area that became the Rosemary District. The community was edged northward into what became Newtown. The development area began in 1914. By 1925, Booker Grammar School was built to serve the community, and by the 1930s, a high school and junior high were also added. The community continued to grow, even though the tumultuous era of desegregation, and in 2008, a community redevelopment plan was created to boost Newtown's economy. And joining us for more on what the future could hold is Sarasota Mayor Willie Shaw. Jetson Grimes, who has lived and worked in Newtown for more than 60 years. He is the owner of Jetson's Creative Trend Barbershop and Salon, and Fred Atkins, who has served on Sarasota's City Commission for nearly 2 decades. Gentlemen, thank you all for being here today. And Jetson, I don't think you could be in business for 60 years because, you know, you don't look that old.
Well, thanks a lot, I tell you.
But we digress. You know, I want to start with something that Barbara Langston said in our story, which says she's tired of the city playing games with the Newtown community. What does she mean by that, Fred?
I think you need to ask her.
I mean, is everybody, obviously everybody is not on the same page. You know, she wants what's best for the Newtown community. I guess maybe a lot of people are waiting for something that really has not come yet.
There is a process, and process takes time. We've only come out of the 13 acres in particular that she was speaking of, the Marion Anderson site 2 years ago, when it was cleared by Department of Environmental Protection. And now the process calls for either an invitation to bid or a request for procurement. So those things are out there, but the process hasn't moved as fast as some may want it to.
You know, what was incredible when we looked at Bobeth's story is the photos from years gone by of all the wonderful things that were in the community. And we want to look forward 20 years, but what happened? What stopped?
Well, I think during that period, you know, a lot of times I kind of look back at the history of that community. And sometimes you need to look at the history to be able to perpetuate how you can move forward. And one of the reasons why our community at that particular time, it was doing segregation and Jim Crow, but we had success. We had a very successful community. One of the reasons why we had a successful community, the people that lived under Jim Crow and segregation, we had to spend money in that particular community. So we need to start looking at the same dynamics that we were successful during that period and use that to move ahead with redeveloping the Newtown community now. You know, I can look back, you know, 30 years ago, downtown was just like Newtown. It was boarded up. They had a lot of problems. They had vagrancy. They had a lot of issues like some of the issues that we have in Newtown. But some of the things they did done, and it needed some things from the government. They was able to deed property, bring cold food, bring other businesses in the community, and they was able to revitalize. We need kind of the same thing need to happen for that community too. And we have that opportunity, we can do that.
One of the things that happened, the CRA, the Community Reinvestment Act, that basically saved the downtown when I came to the commission in '85, is the very thing that we need in Newtown, but we need participation from the county so we can get the tax increment financing to reinvest in our community.
And many people may not know exactly what that is, but correct me if I'm wrong, we're talking about community block grants from the federal government?
No. Community Reinvestment Act is a tax increment financing mechanism that the state and the federal government put together so that Sarasota's Newtown is in a CRA. The problem is that the county won't participate with us in it because they don't want money to come into the greater Newtown area. It was all right for 30 years for them to, for 29 years for them to give it to the downtown area. But when our turn came to collect some of the tax increment, the raising in the wealth of the community, they didn't want to invest it in us.
All right. I really want to dive deeper into that subject, but we're going to take a break. We have much more to discuss here on the Roundtable. When we return, we'll take a look at your full forecast. Welcome back. If you're just joining us, we are discussing how the community of Newtown and Sarasota will change over the next 2 decades. And our guests tonight are Sarasota Mayor Willie Shaw, Jetson Grimes, the owner of Jetson's Creative Trend Barbershop and Salon, and Fred Atkins, who served on Sarasota City Commission for nearly 2 decades. I guess in order to find out or talk about where we're going, we have to talk about where we are and where we've been. And Fred, I want to start up again with you with what you were talking about, the CRA, which is the Community Redevelopment Act, which is a state program that requires the county commission to do what?
What happens is the county has to agree to the area that is deemed slum and blighted, and also agree to allow the tax increments, the money raised over the ceiling of the taxes when it's decreed, to come and be reinvested in the community that is in the CRA.
So our county commission has done that for certain parts of the city, like?
Downtown. Well, the slum and blighted area in downtown basically was saved by myself and 3-4 other commissioners when we was there back in '86, '87, and started the CRA, which was from 10th Street over to near Mound, and from South Main up to the waterfront. And so that's how they really became an area. But the majority of the slum and blighted was the Overtown Black Bottom community.
So the obvious extension of that would be to move it to, you know, Overtown and Newtown. But what kind of resistance has there been on the county commission?
Plenty. There's been a barrier, wall, or contention that has built up over the last 3 years, at least, with the city and county on what we do going from here. The downtown CRA has a component known as the Newtown CRA. Downtown CRA sunsets in 2016. It has a 30-year plus time span. Newtown still goes forward. What happens is that the monies that are raised within the downtown is shared within the Newtown. And with downtown being sunsetted, the monies that it generates will no longer come to the Newtown community. And that's where our odds are.
What has been the conversation that you have had with county commissioners about avoiding that from happening, or making sure that Newtown gets the kind of funding it needs to move forward?
Well, right now the contentious point is, and we're dealing with staff presently on what is 29 payments or 30 payments.
Well, I mean, does this get down to partisan politics? Does it get down to a lack of understanding in terms of who is on the commission with what's needed in the community? And Fred, you are leaping out of your seat.
It's about partisan power. And what basically happens is that the county commission has deemed it unnecessary to focus on targeted communities to enhance their redevelopment. There are several other communities in Sarasota County that wants a CRA, that deserves one, that could use this stimulus to bring their communities forward or back. And so Sarasota County has decided that they want to control the purse string of every community. So they said that, no, we won't do CRAs for anybody else, and we won't even continue the one in Newtown. What we'll do is ask you all to come and beg for the money, and we'll dispense it at our will.
So what does the community do? What can the community do in terms of applying or creating political pressure to change that?
Well, I leave that up to the politicians to take care of that. But a lot of things that we can do as a community to move forward. You know, we need to start unifying, things that we need to kind of put together to really start changing that community. And I kind of look at that community as being, accessible, especially being 5 minutes from the water, 5 minutes from downtown, 5 minutes from the airport. We need to bring positive investment into the community. Even with the Ringling School of Art, there need to be a marriage with Ringling School of Art all of that can be an asset to the community as we you know, everybody can utilize that particular entity within our community. So once we start doing that, hopefully the politicians can get this act together and start bringing us some dollars into the community.
You know, we've been trying in Suncoast 2037 to look 20 years down the road and see where we're going to be. I did a story last week about affordable housing, and you know, frankly, the answers about where we're going to be in 20 years weren't too good. Can any of you gentlemen say we're going to be in a better place in 20 years than we are now?
I believe we are. I truly believe that the opportunities are presenting themselves because of the disrespect and pressure that the county powers that be are basically pressing on the greater community. In the next 20 years, we're probably going to have single-member county commission districts so that county commissioners will be elected from their district, and so that they can coalesce with 2 other or 3 other districts and make some decisions for the better good of communities as well as the county. Because as long as the power structures in one small group of people, they are dictating to the county what to get at.
But even getting that, and that was a subject that came up last week at the Tiger Bay luncheon, as much as people look to single-member districts as a way to give more power to communities and to local municipalities, the pushback there is, well, it makes people who are in the single-member district more selfish about their own good instead of looking at the county as a whole.
You know something? This whole country is based on single-member districts. Our legislators, our congressmen are all coming from districts that they represented, and in Sarasota County is one of the few counties that don't have single-member districts now. And there are active organizations out there now that have pleaded to the county commissions for single-member districts, and now they're going to go the petition route. Because I can remember for one election cycle, we had single-member districts in Sarasota County, and those same people that's trying to dictate to us how single-member districts would not be in our best interest are the same people that dictated to the county commissions to repeal single-member districts the last time.
Is there anything that could be done outside the political process to for members of the community or the city itself to try to attract investment, the kind of investment that you see in other municipalities around the Suncoast or the greater Tampa Bay area?
Well, certainly, we're doing very much these initiatives to draw that investment in, but building incentives that will be lucrative and attractive to those bodies coming becomes the issue. And let's just also take a moment to breathe. Here we go. Just today, we installed 2 new county commissioners, and a third was reinstalled. So we possibly have a different makeup. I don't want to throw the baby out with the bathwater here yet, because we've never come to those discussions with this new makeup. What does the public and how can you interact? We want an inclusive community. I'm just coming back from a League of Cities conference where conversations were taken and moving forward on what takes place in all of our cities. And Sarasota is not one any different, Newtown and the special. But what I took away, and one of the things I drew to the attention of the presenter was this. He said, I was in South LA in 1979, and over there, down there rather was his term, and he says, but we've gone so far ahead of that. We're much further.
We just have to take one pause.
Okay.
All right, we'll take a quick break, but when we return, we'll have final thoughts from the mayor and our other guests, so stay with us. Welcome back. We have seen major improvements in Newtown in recent years, so will the trend continue in the future? Our guests join us for final thoughts. And Mayor, I want to start with you because you wanted to make a certain point.
I did, and I'm going to be as brief as possible. When we the question was, how does the public participate in this Newtown effort and this Newtown project? When we move beyond Newtown being up there, when we move beyond the colloquialisms, and I'm speaking of people who've been here less than 10 years, who've already become institutionalized into referencing it as over there or up there. They have even no idea what its history is. Unless we were inclusive,
Jetson, as you saw in Bobeth's story, there are people who are getting frustrated that it's taking too long. So at one point, does the frustration boil over, or is there anything in the community can do to apply political pressure?
Well, of course, we have two powerful people right here. We put pressure in downtown. We put pressure, but we have to kind of look at creating that area to be a destination, and I think that's going to be one of the most powerful things for that community, because we have to start being able to attract dollars from outside the community, and once we can create a destination in that community, I think our community can survive. And we need the county and the city to participate.
Fred, the last word goes to you.
I believe that the greater Newtown area is perfectly in tune with what's going on right now. And all we need is that one leader, one investment cycle of events that will do something either at Marion Anderson or at some other significant. We have a whole block of land between Oxford and Maple that the city owns that's in land blank, so that somebody can invest and put something there in the core Newtown area.
So are you saying that is going to come from outside?
There's not enough money in the community that have been able to coalesce to make some things like this happen of a greater magnitude. We can do some small projects to complement what's being intended, but the reality is that we are a very low-income district.
Okay, I want to leave it there. But before we go, we want to share with you what some of our viewers are saying about last night's topic, Sarasota's Comprehensive Treatment Court. Set to begin in January, the idea of the program is to take low-level offenders with mental health or substance abuse issues and put them into treatment instead of jail. Sarasota Judge Erica Quartermain has spearheaded the effort for nearly 3 years, and now her work is paying off. The program now has 3 years worth of grant funding, and we asked what you thought about the idea. Jessica Ann writes, I've been saying this for years. So happy Judge Quartermain is doing this. Hats off to her. Terry Smith writes, drug addicts need to be jailed. Giving them free shelter and only expecting minimal work from them helps them flourish as a devoted addict. They know how to calm the drug testing. And Kathy Hart writes, if properly run, if not only will it save the county hundreds of thousands of dollars, but will help save the lives of those who really desire change. Well, if you'd like to join the conversation about tonight's topic, just visit our Facebook page at facebook.com/news@7. And FYI, want to watch past Roundtable discussions? They're available on Apple TV, Amazon Fire, and Roku. I want to thank our guests for being here tonight. Willie Shaw is serving his third term as Sarasota's mayor. Jetson Grimes is the owner of Jetson's Creative Trend in Newtown, and Fred Atkins served on Sarasota City Commission for nearly 2 decades, including as mayor.